Hi there, welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for tuning in. I grew up in the 80s. It was a fantastic time for music. You went to record stores and you picked things up. You didn't download it. You went to downtown Montreal. I went to Sound the Record Man, HMV, you name it, I went. And 1986 was probably one of the craziest years in music. You had groups imploding, exploding, getting back together, changing, reforming, you name it, they did it. Glam metal was all over the airwaves. You either had to get on board or get the hell out of the way. Very, very, very challenging time for many bands. Some made it, some didn't. Some changed. Some became something totally else. It was incredible. It was a different time. But I loved it. I got to experience different things, get to different groups because they did change and they made themselves, I guess, accessible to guys like me who weren't into the hard rock scene per se, but they pulled me in with these records. So some of them you're going to scratch your head and go, really? That record of all the records from this band, this is the one you get into? But bear with me. This is the one that was like the doorway into some of these bands or the entry point. And then I went back and discovered their classic albums. But I went through these ones, and some of them are polarizing. But bear with me. And remember, music is everybody has their own taste. So this is not in any particular order. This is just what I grabbed off the shelves. So these are some of my favorite albums from 1986. Kind of rock, hard rock. Number one, Journey, Raised on Radio. This is where the band becomes a trio. So it's Jonathan Cain, Neil Sean, and Steve Perry. Steve Perry has become producer. He's the driving force behind this album. Very pop oriented, very catchy. I always loved Girl Can't Help It, Positive Touch, Suzanne, Be Good to Yourself, I'll Be Alright Without You. Not the rockiest album of their career, but it's got hooks for days. Steve Perry got one of the best voices you're ever going to hear in rock and roll. So I love this album. This is probably, I think, my first Journey album. Besides, I used to buy the greatest hits packages. I said, now I want to buy. I got my own money. I'm buying this. And then I went back and picked up the other ones. But this is my entry point. But it still was one of my favorite albums of 1986. Next up, one of the weirdest things, not weird, but I didn't think it would happen. Iron Maiden comes out with Somewhere in Time, kind of guitar synths on here, which you thought would kill their career. But it worked on this album. They're not overbearing. It is fantastic. And I'm going to say Wasted Years is one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs of all time. It's in every playlist I ever do. If I play Iron Maiden, I got to hear this song. Other ones, I'm going to have to say Stranger in a Strange Land is phenomenal. Heaven Can Wait. Just a great album. I think, it does sound, no other Maiden album sounds like this, but it works. The minute we heard guitar synths with Maiden, we said, oh boy, maybe they're coming. I remember guys panicking and saying, oh my God. But I said, remember Van Halen? Everybody thought they're going to be dead when they brought synths in it, and 1984 became a humongous seller, right? So I said, let's wait to hear it. I'm glad I did. This is the Maiden album that really solidified. I had Power Slave, but this is the one I went, yeah, I'm going to be a Maiden fan for life now. I'm stuck. Up the irons. Here we go with some of the polarizing albums. Number one, Ozzy Osbourne, The Ultimate Sin. This is the last album that had Jakey Lee on it. Very pop oriented, produced by Ron Nevison, who had brought back Heart, gave Kiss Crazy Crazy Nights, which is another one that's polarizing. But The Ultimate Sin, Shot in the Dark became a major hit. Killer of Giants, Fool Like You. I think it's solid. It's catchy. And this is the Ozzy album that brought me into the fold, and that's when I said, oh, okay, I'm going to pick up the other stuff now. I like this one. Of course, I like the other ones better afterwards, but this is the one that started it all for me. I got into it because it was accessible. Shot in the Dark was catchy as all heck. It was on radio everywhere, and it got me into them. And here we go. I know some fans are going to probably might jump out a window now, but please don't hurt yourself. Put down any sharp objects and calm down. Turbo by Judas Priest. This is my first Judas Priest album, and yes, it is my first Judas Priest album, but it got me into the other ones and made me a fan. Guitar synths, and it moves away from their fantasy aspect of their lyrics, more down to earth, grounded. But Turbo Lover is fantastic. Locked In, Private Property, Parental Guidance, Out in the Cold, Wild Nights, Hot and Crazy. I love this album. And it sounds great. The remastered version sounds phenomenal. Yes, it's a little cheesy now, but it's fun. It's fun. And this is the album that got me into Priest. Hate it. I love it. It's just pure fun. And sometimes rock should be fun. And this is just fun. You just go along with it and you're like, but that's me. Here we go, the battle of all battles of 86. If anybody was around then and knew what was happening, there was a big implosion in rock and roll. Whatever you believe, either he got fired or he left. David Lee Roth left Van Halen. And everybody and their dog thought that Van Halen was finished without the mighty Roth in the band. Eddie decides he's going to continue, get a new lead singer. And we get Sammy Hagar. And we get 5150, produced by Foreigner's Mick Jones. And Foreigner used to be considered like the enemy to Van Halen. They were going up against each other. And Mick Jones is now behind the boards producing. Head scratching. Different beast. It kind of Van Halen meets Journey and Foreigner all together. If these guys, I'm going to say, had a three-way. This is the album that will come out of it. It's still a great album, although in the beginning, I'm going to be honest, I did not listen to this for the first, I think, 4 or 5 months that I had this, because I was so pissed that Roth was not in the band anymore. But then I put this on and said, you know what? It's a different beast. You can't compare it to the Roth era. This is a different beast, but it's an entertaining one. Why can't this be love? Dreams, Summer Nights, and of course, my favorite, Best of Both Worlds. Great album. Great album. Then came the response to 5150. And Diamond Dave comes out with Eat 'Em and Smile, produced by Ted Templeman, who did all the Van Halen albums with Roth. So you kind of go, is he really the bad guy? Because now you got the original producer back with you, and he brings a stellar band, including guitar virtuoso Steve Vai. Yankee Rose, phenomenal. You know, all the songs. This is the rockiest Van Halen has sounded without me being a Van Halen album. You know, Shy Boy, Ladies Night in Buffalo, I love that song. Tobacco Road, you know, Bump and Grind, Big Trouble. Just a great old school rock album. And that was the big beef. Who do you like more? Who do you support? I supported him first, and then I got on board with these guys, and then I said, why limit myself? I'm going to get now every couple of years a Van Halen and a David Lee Roth solo record. It's a win-win. But that's me. These are some of my favorite records of 1986. It was a crazy time in music. You didn't have the internet, so you didn't know what was happening. You had to buy a magazine or listen to the radio. It was phenomenal. But these are some of my selections of some of my favorite albums of 1986. You let me know if you have any of these. Have you heard of these? You hate them? And that's fair. Let me know. Share your thoughts with us. We'd love to hear from you. This is Stephen from the Aroundtable with some of my favorite rock albums from 1986. And I'll be seeing you soon, guys.